pretty little faces. It's Monday. It's a different time than usual, but it is the same time, just different day. 8 p.m. It's the Pommy Kickback Footy Show, and I'm joined. So usually when I do these intros, there's a little bit of ambiguity and lying on my end that I'll pep them up. And those who know me know that I don't watch content, but the one guy that I do watch, and I avoid watching not because I don't like people, because it gets inside my head and it can influence me, but a guy who's incredibly entertaining, he's knowledgeable, he's a great guy as well. He's probably the most honest and nicest YouTuber out there. The great man himself, Daz Talks Footy. He joins me. How are you diddling, mate?
Mate, I'm well, thank you. I'm going to chuck the glasses on because I can't see a thing, but I appreciate the very kind intro, my friend. I'm totally with you in the we don't watch content, not because we don't like other YouTubers or other collaborators, mate, but the last thing that we want to do is make the same content by mistake. Like, we're never going to do it on purpose, as we know. So I'm in exactly the same boat, mate. I've been a fan of yours for ages, so to go from fan to collaborator every time we talk, mate, is a genuine pleasure. So I appreciate you having me on. How are you?
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, it's one of them things, because a few people that know me do say, oh, I can't believe you don't watch this guy. And like I say, I'm subtly influenced. I'm like, we've got the election at the minute. I am the type of guy that will watch a party political broadcast and then go, I'm voting for them. And then the next ad break, another one comes. And I'm like, no, I'm going to vote them as well. So I've got to trust myself to not listen to anything in my ears.
I love it, mate. I love it. Sort of politically, I'm with you. The amount of headlines, not this election, but like when I was younger, the amount of headlines that you'd fall for was extraordinary. So yeah, I'm exactly the same. I had a very similar moment. I spent a good hour and a half putting together a video and realized that another YouTuber had basically done the same idea. And I went, even though I hadn't watched it, it might have just appeared as a thumbnail in my feed. I went, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. It screwed up my schedule, but that's on me, and that's the reason why we do this, mate. You need to be original, you need to be authentic, and like you said, you need to be subtly influenced, hopefully just by yourself, and that's the way that we should roll. So that's the way we go, mate, and I'm pumped for this. When you asked me to come on and you said this is what it entails, I laid down the law and said I've got to be here, and by laying down the law, I mean that I have put in so much work to get this hour free today. Well, not work, but I love my family and all those kinds of things. But the house is set up beautifully. The little bloke is in his room, settling down. He may come in, but that's okay. We'll roll with the punches. I know you won't mind, but yeah, I'm pumped for this, mate.
You're a busy man. I mean, you've got a young family, and then you've got one on the way as well, haven't you? I mean, like you're real time now, Daz.
Yeah, just about, mate. As I made this joke to my missus once, and she didn't like it, which is why I'm repeating it to the internet, which was that I've definitely got one of each now. So I got the girl on the way, and the boy is a little bloke, and I've got one that's mine and one that's not. So I've definitely covered the spectrum now. She hates me saying that, so repeating it on the internet is probably not great, but I doubt she's listening. But it's perfect, mate. Keeping busy is what we love to do, and it keeps you grounded and keeps you involved, and it compartmentalizes your life in a really positive way. So I genuinely believe that it's gotten better because of it, and I can't wait for what's next. And these power rankings, oh boy, I'm liking this already.
Well, I mean, I can tell you as a dad, it makes your content better because you suddenly learn to time manage in a way. Like now when I set 2 hours to do a video, instead of like maybe 10 years ago, I would have procrastinated, played a little bit of FIFA, maybe said I'll do it in an hour. Now I've only got 2 hours. If I don't have that video done by 2 hours, it's never getting done.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And it becomes like so many of the people that I knew were like, oh, I noticed with your channel that you're taking some time off over Christmas, and my poor partner had to be like, you think he took time off, did you? He didn't press record. That doesn't mean he wasn't doing stuff. And the entire time, mate, was just prep for getting everything sorted so I could spend the least amount of time doing this to a quality standard so we don't rob time away from our families, as you said. So that's what I did. That's how I spent my Christmas. And even on Christmas Day, I was on Canva, and my missus is looking at me and just like, what are you doing? And I'm thinking to myself, the roast pork's in the oven, love. It's okay. It's still 12 minutes away. The timer's on. I can absolutely smash out this thumbnail template in 12 minutes. Watch me work. And it's worked out beautifully. So time spent in the past is time saved in the future, as I like to say.
Mate, I agree with you. And trust me, that's a bit like the Pom Christmas. Like, I'll put the turkey in, and then I'm just working on this cracking thumbnail idea or a stat that comes into my head while I was stuffing the chicken. But,
Yeah,
Daz, you like this. So the power rankings is a very bizarre thing that we do on this channel. We have started this at the start of the preseason, and the rule is we're only allowed to move teams and talk about their game, and we can't let last week influence us, and we can't let next week influence us. It's game by game, and they can either go up or down only when we talk about them. So we'll go game by game from this week, and how it looks at the end is literally how it looks.
I love this so much. I do. This is amazing. I'm pumped. Let's do it, mate.
And yeah, and I'm sure Matt Lang, I've seen him in chat, he'll take the piss because I have a few rules. At the start of the year, I banned anyone from convincing me to move Geelong out of the top 4, and they slipped to 9th a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, never introduce preseason rules, mate. They go out the window. Like, I've got a comp on my channel called Against the Odds where I have the fans, a creator. You've been on it, mate. You were very successful. You got it right. But I have the fans, a creator, my very best mate, and myself. We all pick a betting outsider to win. And I think the creator is on 110. There's a scoring system, but the creators are on 110. The fans are on 45. My best mate's on 50, and I'm on 3.5, like in my own comp. So, mate, I know what it's like to have the people turn on you quite quickly, 100%.
Well, I mean, the first game is actually featuring Geelong and featuring Adelaide, and I've been on 2 trains. This was a great game, but the Cats, again, they're a machine, aren't they, Daz?
Yeah, it's genuinely annoying. Like, it really is. And I say this with love. I mean, I grew up watching the Kennett curse. So, the hatred as a teenager, but the annoyance now is that you could just forecast it, couldn't you? As soon as it hit halftime and they'd kicked the late goal, I can't remember who it was. They kicked it now off the top of my head. It might have been Brad Close, I think. And you could just say that halftime came and it was as simple as if they kick the first one of the second half, they're going to be away. They were, and the entire thing unfolded as basically on script, and I mean that in the politest way possible. They were fantastic. The Cats and the Crows have got their reasons, of course, but we'll stick to the Cats conversation, mate. That's powerful was the word that I came away from that game thinking about the Cats, is they had gears that not only do I think Adelaide couldn't go with, but there are probably 16 teams on that list that would have struggled to contain the Cats in that kind of mood. So their offensive firepower was elite. No Stewart, no Henry. I know they conceded 100 points, but the way they were able to shut down the big 3 in the second half, mate, this is just a scary football team, and the cotton on money is going to good places.
They are the most disgusting side to watch, Geelong, because they just... I think you nailed it. There's an inevitability, isn't there? It's almost like, it reminds me of Tiger Woods in the late 90s. Once you see the glint in their eye, you know it's game over, don't you? And it's a matter of when, not if.
Yeah, Geelong after half-time put the red polo shirt on and it was, all right, well, this is Sunday. Nice, beautiful. This is the way that this is going to go. I think it's an apt comparison, mate. It was outstanding. Adelaide tried to be Rory, who got his win today, which was extraordinary for him and the people of Northern Ireland, of course. But yeah, Geelong, extraordinary. And the only team that I think can beat them is themselves in their own errors, mate. So it sucks, of course, as a biased Hawthorn supporter. As a footy watcher, though, there is kind of a really positive way to look at it, because you know what you're going to get with their games. Like, they're very easy to watch. And if you can compartmentalize your biasness versus your love for watching footy, like, they're the perfect Thursday night team, because you're going to get a game. Whether it's the St Kilda comeback that they tried to do and failed, whether it was Brisbane successfully coming back against them, or this game, They're just going to be so good to watch, which makes me very nervous for Easter Monday.
Well, that's going to be a great game, but I'm going to suggest, right, I'm still in love with Adelaide, but I can't get past Adelaide just hemorrhage inside 50s, and the first real test, they've got found out. Geelong, I think we need to move up to third, and Adelaide, I'm suggesting we move up to seventh.
Yep, I completely agree. I really do. I think the defensive work of their midfielders is a big, big problem. They miss Nick Murray a lot. I think more than most non-Adelaide fans realise. So I don't argue with either of those in any kind of way, mate. The Suns in the top 6. I know we'll talk about them later, but oh boy. But we're 2 for 2 in agreement right now, which we like.
You know that there you are. Look, the cats, they're back where they should be. But then we come on to a team we've just dipped. Pies. They've just gone down 1. A very impressive win against Sydney. And as a Blues fan, you've had to talk about Geelong. I've managed to take away my bias with Collingwood. Another machine. No Houston. No DeGoey. Old, slow. They just keep finding a way. I think Geelong and Collingwood have the 2 best systems on planet Earth at the minute.
Yeah, no Lockie Schultz as well that we can add to that list, if you will. Depending on the importance of Tom Mitchell, you could include him on the list as well, although I think that the other guy they took from the Hawks, Ned Long, is playing that Tom Mitchell role to perfection, and he's taller. Ned Long is. I'm not saying he's better than Tom Mitchell or anything like that, but I think I am the reason Ned Long got delisted. I dagged off him so much at a player sponsor event. I got every bit of information about his life story by his mother's maiden name, Paul Longy. I just loved him so much, and I don't know, but he did the worst thing you can do to a fan who's like a fanboy, which I always will be with the Hawks, and that's he gave me attention and an answer. So he gave me an answer. I listened, asked a follow-up question, and then he made the second mistake, which was answering that question. And then half an hour later, he wanted to get away from me so much, he got himself delisted and ended up at the Pies, so I don't have to talk to him. Poor Longy. But yeah, mate, the Pies, they took the PI 55 in the end, and you talk about teams that had a gear to go to. I'll tell you what, mate, I don't know what they're feeding Steel Sidebottom down there, but the anti-aging creams are going beautifully for Steel. He's the All-Australian wingman. And arguably, he's the only one. I can't think of another wingman that's had the impact even close to what he has had. It is extraordinary that at his age that he is able to churn out the quality of game that he is. And I think the thing about the Pies that I love so much is that they have so many guys with ball in hand that feel safe. Like Pendlebury with the ball, you know he's not going to panic. Steele's not going to panic. Darcy Moore has recovered beautifully and is using the ball a lot better. His back shoulder work is outstanding. He feels safe in a one-on-one contest. I'm doing a video on the Pies tomorrow. I'll give you this nugget for free, mate. Darcy Moore has been in the 3rd most defensive one-on-ones this year for any key defender. He's been in 20. He's lost 1. So 5% is what Darcy's been able to do. So the bounce back from him has been fantastic, and they've got a forward mix now where they can throw bodies at you on the lead and in the air, and that's causing some problems as well. So I'm kind of with you, mate. As annoying as it is, the Pies are sticking around. I don't think I can put them above the Cats, though.
That they are, I agree with you. I mean, just the way that, like, Ned Long comes into that system, who very lazy analysis, is delisted by Hawks, can't be that good, mid-season draftee, and that system is just plug and play. Like, I said it in the watch along, I feel like I could play for Collingwood. Like, McRae would just be like, okay, this is what you've got to do. We'll build the system around you for this game. And I'd end up with 20 touches and a goal.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. And what's extraordinary about it as well is, and this is obviously the difference between good and bad teams, is that good teams will have you play the role for what you can do, and they will happily sacrifice the parts of your game that you can't do. Like, Ned Long's going to butcher the ball. Like, he just is. And I love him. And I'm not saying that disparagingly at all. But he's not at centre bounces to laser out, Tim Membry on the lead. That's not what he's there for. It's when the ball's in and under, you'd rather him at the bottom of a pack feeding it out to one of the Dacos boys or Pendlebury rather than have, what good is it for Collingwood that Nick's on the bottom of a pack? Nothing. It serves zero purpose, especially if you look at the inside 50 he had to my check in that first quarter. Why the hell would you want Dacos on the bottom? So he's playing his role beautifully, mate, and yeah, very annoying of how good they are as well. But my mum's a Collingwood fan, so shout out to her, and she loves them, mate. And if Jamie Elliott ever finds out how much she loves him, there might be a restraining order heading her way. But other than that, Pies are doing well.
Well, I mean, this is an interesting one because Sydney, I feel, are the best of the rest at the minute. I feel like they look lost. New system. They desperately need Golden. And I think they may regret not getting a proper key forward and a key defender in any form, shape or form. But the Pies, are we moving them back to third?
I don't think I can put them above the Cats, in all honesty. I think if they played tomorrow at the G, it'd probably be a draw. How annoying would that be? My instincts say that I'll keep the Pies at 4, I think.
You know what? I know Laughing Magpie would say yes. You've given it away. I mean, Sydney, do you feel like Sydney need to go down based on what you saw, or did they just lose? Because I genuinely feel if there was a team I'd guarantee will finish no worse than 9th, it's Sydney.
Yeah, I can understand that. Their best is very good. I agree with you that they've got a spine problem. They just do, and that includes the form of Chad Warner. I don't know how much the contract would be playing on his mind, but he doesn't look his best. Isaac Heaney. So if you're going to have your regression, especially in your score involvements and your goals from your midfield, and they had an extraordinary midfield goal-kicking season last year, like they were always going to regress. You're never going to have 3 blokes kick 100 goals between them and average 6.5 clearances. I mean, that's just bonkers. You know, Judd, Cousins and Kerr weren't doing that in their prime. I'd still take that West Coast midfield, of course. But what I mean by that is that if they were even going to drop off by 10%, and it looks obviously with Gordon going down, you're losing at least a third during that time, the uptick had to come from somewhere. Will Hayward can't do it on his own. Hayden McLean, it's just everything about Sydney just screams B+ to me. Like there's just not a whole lot of A grade anything around so far. So whilst I'm with you, I genuinely look at the teams below them and think to myself, there is absolutely no way that they can go down. I look at the teams above them and think there is absolutely zero reason for them to go up. So I'm happy keeping them there, mate. I could probably get my arm twisted to go up a touch, but my instincts say they're in the perfect spot.
Yeah, we'll stick with them. And I think the chat pretty much agree. And then we come to a team that I've just done a PommInOz episode on called The Illusion of Progress. North Melbourne were literally taught a lesson by the Swans. By the Suns. And you know what? We've had many false dawns with the Suns, but there is something, even though they've beaten nobody, there is something about this Gold Coast Suns team that is screaming they are playing finals already.
Yeah, I mean, the soft draw is always going to be a talking point. I think Damien Barrett went with it on the Sunday Footy Show that clubs are unhappy with how easy their start is. I mean, mate, you would know this, and I'm not bringing this up to be a dick or anything like that, but, you know, you saw what happened between your boys and Richmond. Like, you've still got to beat the bad teams. You know, if Gold Coast were 2-2 right now, no one would give a damn about their fixture. They really wouldn't. So the fact that they're able to put the foot on the throat of a few teams, something that Gold Coast have never been able to do, is just a show of their progression. They really are. They've got their 2 midfielders are top 10 in the Brownlow right now. Rao could be leading it, to be honest, and he's got a game in hand. He's been that good. Noah Anderson, I think, first year as captain, and boy, does that look like a good decision. Holy Moses, does that seem like a good decision. But Damien Hardwick right now is kind of in a really interesting spot that he's got now a midfield mix that reminds me so much of his Richmond mix minus Dusty. So Anderson, Cochin, those guys, and I'm not saying they're the same player, but what they can do in terms of your midfield leader. Rowell is your, proper contested beast, which we love in there. Jared Witts and Toby Nankervis, I mean, they're both underrated blokes from clubs that discarded them. Their defense, I think, looks a lot like Richmond's does when you got guys like Bodie Hewland, who's just a shorter Nick Vlaston to me. Like the similarities in their game are simply extraordinary. Joel Jeffrey, quicker version of Jaden Short. Like, it's extraordinary the way he could go through it. But that forward line, mate, Dimmer went from Jack Rewalt, Shane Edwards as a second tall, Kane Lambert as your third tall, Jacob Townsend as your fourth forward, and got Ben King, the better King brother, let's be honest, Jed Walter from the academy, Ethan Reid from the academy, who could be the best second ruckman in the competition. Ben Long has just decided to be a superstar out of nowhere. Ben Ainsworth's playing his best footy. And then you got Will Graham and who's the number 33 on the other wing? Closey? Is that his name?
Yep, Sam
Closey. Yep, Sam Closey. Yeah, it's on the wings, mate, who are just going to run amok. It's extraordinary. Dimmer's 80% of our premiership team are currently on the list is aging magnificently right now. I'm not saying they're going to win the flag, but they legitimately could not have done more than what they've done already. It's a credit to them, and it's extraordinary.
You know what's scary as well is these two teams. Suns look like a Damien Hardwick team.
Yes.
North Melbourne look nothing like a Clarkson team. Like, when I think Hawthorn, I think hard spine, hard to break down. Even when they didn't win the flag, their structure was hard. You had to beat them. Even when they were nearly at the death throes, there was that rigidness. And North Melbourne, to me, are toilet paper wet. Like, it's got no rigid. Like, I think we might have overhyped how bad Melbourne were. And that North win, which jumped them up this rankings, might be fraudulent. Like, they might be fraud watch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, they put it together. My frustration with North, I said it in the review on my video, which was North with the ball. Just with the ball. At their best, look like the sixth best team in the comp, and at worst, look 12th. Around that mark. You could argue 13th, 14th, but all right, let's say 14th, right? Without the ball. When the opposition has the ball, they are the second worst team in the comp, and that's only because West Coast are playing kids, under 17s, and probably a couple from under 14s cricket team back in the day. That's just what they look like structurally. It is so far, and I watched the entirety of that game with a pregnant North Melbourne supporter. I should clarify, that is my missus. I didn't just find one and bring her into my house. She is, I am in, yes. Anyway, and her points from, are completely, she's a North Melbourne fan. She's nowhere near the nuffy that I am. And just at one point, she turned to me, she summed it up beautifully, and she went, "There's two things that are bugging me right now." And I went, "What are they?" And she went, "The game's called football, and no one can use their feet because they can't run properly and they can't kick. And then secondly, don't you get taught how to defend in under nines? And we have an entire defensive group that can't defend." I don't know how you sum it up better than that. They don't have one defender, small or tall, that you would trust back shoulder in a one-on-one. Luke McDonald's the closest to it. The closest. He's been good this year. I'll give Lukey Mack that. But no one else. Zach Fisher, Caleb Daniel, Colby McKercher, Aiden Core, Griffin Logue, Dylan Stevens, if you want to play him as the defensive winger. I mean, Bailey Scott's been top 3 in their best and fairest twice and got dropped. And I'll give you the tip, mate. It wasn't for his ball use. And how are you going to win a game if you can't defend? I don't care how good you are. Adelaide can kick 100 points a week, mate. You give up 120, you're not winning.
Yeah, you know what? This is a tough one because I'm with you. I think they live by the sword, die by the sword. And they've got a little bit of Carlton about them. If you stand up to them, it could be curtains. I think North... This sounds harsh, but I've got to put North. I think North 15th. And
you think that's harsh? Oh, okay. I'm going lower than that.
Would you have them 16th?
16th, yep. Absolutely.
You know what? You're the guest. I'll go out. And Suns, I can't put the Suns above any of them 5 teams.
It could be the best sixth of the entire, ever. They could be the sixth best team in the comp that we have ever seen. And they're probably getting robbed by the fact that Essendon game was postponed. I feel like if they play that game and they win it, I mean, they are 8 spots better than Essendon at the moment. So let's say they win that game. If they're 5-0 with a percentage of 145, they would be higher. So it's not disrespect to the Suns, I don't think. It's just circumstances outside of their control. But yeah, I agree with you, mate. I think they have to stay there. And I think there is a little, I know Gold Coast Adelaide was just a point the difference. I think there is a seismic gap in trust that I have between that top 6 and everyone else on that list.
Interesting point by eye of the moment. I suppose, would I back Carlton versus North? I'd like to think I do. But we are going to talk about them Blue Boys. And the Blue Boys, you described them as an under-14 cricket side playing football. I think that was fair. Carlton did come up against a side that at times I questioned if they were really a football side. Carlton, though, taking nothing away from them, you can only beat what's in front of you. And
correct.
The Blues needed an adrenaline shot of something, and literally just about everyone on the ground got involved and nearly kicked a snag. Like, towards the end, it felt like Carlton had like a raffle for who has a shot at goal. Comprehensively beaten they were. And West Coast, it's a shame we don't have 19th, because it actually feels disgusting to have them 18th.
Yeah, it does, unfortunately. I mean, we'll start with Carlton, because the frustrating thing for me, and Carlton are the only team in the comp that have gone through this. So they got criticised for losing to Richmond, and now they get criticised for beating West Coast. Or maybe not criticised, maybe given a lack of credit. You can't have both for me, right? And were Carlton perfect? Absolutely not. But as I said, mate, the hardest win in the AFL is your first one. I think you guys are going to be fine. I still think you guys can make finals. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that you guys can get into the 8 as you get going. It would be like telling an 18-year-old on their birthday, right, we're going to take you to a nightclub and try picking up a girl. Mate, I don't care if he looks like Chris Hemsworth. He's 18. He doesn't know how to talk to anyone. He ain't getting lucky that night. And every time he goes back, he's going to get a little bit better at it, and eventually he's going to be golden. And from there, the confidence is going to go through the roof, and I can see the same happening with the Blue Baggers. They deserve credit for it, mate. I'm not saying that they need to be paraded. I'm not suggesting a Lygon Street ticker tape parade or anything stupid like that. But they finally had a win. The monkey's off the back. Talk about someone else for a change and let everyone settle into the season. Surely that's the answer.
Mate, I'm with you. I mean, I think you've nailed it. I think, I said it in my video, I hate when people say they should have beaten Eagles, because they should have beaten Richmond. And the reason Richmond were 13th on this ladder is we had the rule, you can't have anyone 0 above a team that's won. So, I'm with you. The Blues needed confidence. And I think when you watch that game back, Walsh looked shit scared to take that shot until he was forced to. I think you look at all the other players, Cripps, even he handballed it off. Charlie Curnow handballed in front of the goal square. There seems to be a real energy of, I don't want to be the guy to make a mistake. So you kind of need a walkover, don't you? You need to get that confidence, hear the song, forget about it. I think the best thing for the Blues was it was gather round, because I think if they played in Melbourne, they might have lost.
I agree. If that game's at Optus Stadium, I would have picked the Eagles. I'm totally with you on this. Yeah, great call.
So you know what? I'm going to throw Carlton back up to 13th, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Right, and obviously I can't move Eagles. I mean, part of me wants to put us again above Port, but I think chat might kill me.
Yeah, no, I don't think we can be running that game, but surely not. But look, I do feel for Minnie McQualter. He's implementing a game plan on a list he inherited. So I don't mean to disparage him in any way. The only thing that I will say sort of on the Eagles here, mate, is one, I loved him dropping Tim Kelly. I've got no problem with that at all. Set your standard. Cool with that. Ross Lyon did it with Stephen Milne and Nick Dalsano early on. They bounced back from it. I'm not suggesting Tim Kelly's going to do the same, but what I'm saying is that once you set your standard as a new coach, the rest of the players will fall into line. Harley Reid can never play halfback again. I cannot, for the life of me, wrap my head around anyone thinking that not only Harley can do that, but why you wouldn't have this guy go, here is the tape on Patrick Dangerfield as a 19-year-old. Here is the vision of Jason Horne-Francis now. That's you. You're powerful, you're strong, you're a midfielder, and when you're tired, because he clearly doesn't have the aerobic capacity yet. He's 19. How the hell are you going to get that, right? 19-year-olds look tired. Colby McKercher looks tired, and he's an athletic freak, mate. We loved him out of the draft. Rest him forward. Rest him. I don't care if Harley Reid's got 64% time on ground and 20% of that's out of the goal square. But my God, I'd rather kick to him in the goal square than him take kick-ins. Come on, Minnie.
Mate, I'm
You're
with
better
you.
than that.
I'm with you. And you know what scared me about that game in the fourth quarter? He actively got burnt as well. So
yes, at halfback. Yeah, yep.
So I feel like McQualter's got issues there internally with that group. Like I said it in my video, for those who haven't watched it, it got released before this. But Oscar Allen is either the stupidest human being alive or he had a meeting in a public cafe to send a message. And I think it was a message because all the people defending him in the media have all said we did it, but they've said we did it in a private hotel room. We did it in our houses. To do it publicly for me is sending a message or the guy can't complete a Sudoku. It's one of the two. Yeah. I like to think he's quite a clever man. I think he was saying something without saying something.
Yeah, it'd be like if a bloke was having an affair and he brought the side chick home while his wife was still there. I don't think that's going to go well for you, mate. I really don't see how this is going to end positively, to be honest. How he thought that this was a good idea, I've got no idea, but I make enough mistakes in my life, mate. I don't need to judge everyone else's.
Well, then we go on to the Lions. Lions are top of our leaderboard, and they showed their premiership credentials again. My one reservation with the Lions, and I keep saying it because I'm stressed by them, but can they keep giving up these leads? Can they keep doing it? There does feel like a lot of effort is on their system, but they keep pulling it back. But it does feel they're playing with fire, doesn't it, Daz?
Yeah, it does. The good and the bad of it, I suppose, is that the danger you can get into is that you don't want them to be thinking, oh, we can keep playing like this. It's working. That's because as soon as it doesn't work, it's going to be, oh, shite, what do we do now? Right? I actually don't know if we can swear on here, but apologies for that, mate. Okay, well, they're going to think, shit, this didn't work. What do we do now? And it turns into, you hope they don't go through an identity crisis. I don't think it's going to be that bad for Brisbane. I really don't. But all this proved, mate, is that 2.5 quarters of them at their best is so far ahead of everyone else. Like, I'll say this with all the respect in the world. As a reigning premier, they are so boring because the doubt over Brisbane was, what are they going to be like without Joe Danaher? Well, they're already top 4 in the league in scoring. They're the top scoring team in fourth quarters. They're top 3 in scoring in third quarters. So the way you finish is more important than the way you start, obviously, if you look at the way they play their footy. And then you go, okay, so if it's not Joe, maybe it's their ability to travel. Their ability to travel's fine. They're undefeated. Whether it's, they've had the shortest preseason ever, they might get off to a slow start. Ticked off. Do they need to introduce more kids? Well, Jasper Fletcher's gone to a halfback flank, one of the more underrated players in the competition. Levi Ashcroft has fitted in. Must be nice, actually, having academy players and next generation academy players. The Hawks just keep getting theirs rejected. And shout out Ollie Greaves because he was unbelievable against Richmond's VFL team, and we can't have him. But anyway, not that I'm salty about it, but effectively, Brisbane is they're so good and they're so strong in the contest and they can flick the switch. I agree with you. There will be a time where they try to flick a switch and they'll miss, and we'll just have to deal with that. But they are so far and away the best team in the comp right now. It's not funny. You look at the list right now, they've beaten Geelong. They played Collingwood on Thursday. The Q clash is going to be awesome. They're number one, mate. They're not moving. They're so good.
I think Fagan is underrated because last year, people forget, he had that horrible start. He lost his main man off halfback. Everything was built on that slingshot defence. And then pre-season, no Danaher. He's had to put they've replaced him effectively with Sam Day as a backstop, as an emergency. He hasn't played yet, but that was effectively the swap of this list. And looking at how he's adapted that midfield and the entries and to use Hipwood and get the best out of Hipwood and play them small, Zach Bailey looks like a world. Like, if he's not in the All-Australian calculations, mental, because he is looking world class. I'm with you. Like, honestly, I think Fagan by a mile at the minute is playing chess while everyone else pisses about playing checkers.
I'm with you. Yeah.
I think they stay. Doggies, though. I really like the Doggies ninth because I feel Trelaw, Bont, they're coming back Bont's coming back at the most important time. I feel everything I watch about them says they're going to fight for the 8.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think they deserve a lot of credit. 2 and 3, with the injuries that they've had, their percentage is 96. So it's not as if they had, say, like one big win and everything else has just been eh. I think they've put together enough footy to know where they're at. I still think they've got a ceiling. That ceiling is 5th and a semi-final appearance. But, geez, mate, Sam Darcy is the first tall forward that I, as a non-supporter, so, for example, if my partner said, hey, we want to take the little bloke to a game of footy, the Hawks play interstate, do you want to go watch the Bulldogs? And my answer will automatically be yes, because I need to go watch Sam Darcy. And that hasn't happened, in my mind, since 2007 Bud. Now, there have been an incredible amount of tall forwards since then. The 2010s were, I think, an underrated period for talls. Of course, led by Bud, obviously, but Rewalt, Kennedy. I know I'm missing someone straight off the bat, off the top of my head, which is going to... Hawkins, obviously, Jeremy Cameron, Jared Roughhead. You could put Gunston in there if you want to. I don't think he's quite at the same tier as the other guys just on that list. But Taylor Walker's produced, I still think, an underrated career for a club's all-time leading goal kicker, which is extraordinary to say. Danaher had his moments. So all of those are 100% worthy of a conversation. Mate, I was never buying a ticket to go watch Tom Hawkins. I mean that from an entertainment point of view. I love the Hawk. I think he is this generation's Dunstall in terms of he could kick them any day he wanted and he passed them off. He's not as good as Jason Dunstall, chat. Before you get in there and eviscerate me for it, I'm not saying they're the same. Okay? So, but don't take that sound bite and without the reclusion in there. But what I'm saying is on pure, I need to watch him strut his stuff, tall forwards-wise. It's Bud in 07. And nearly 20 years later, we've got it in Sam Darcy. He is extraordinary.
He is it's scary as well because he's so good below his feet too. Like when you look at the other big forwards out there, the ball hits the deck and they're kind of incapacitated, but he's got the movement of a midfielder, but he's built like Lurch. Like it's scary. Watch, like, I had this conversation last week where I think I would count Thilthorpe in the same category as well. And I think Thilthorpe's not getting enough love because he's not Victorian. But both of them, they're just monstrous. Obviously, Darcy, I think, will be the better player. But they're both just, like, they're a nightmare because they can beat you up high, down low, and they're selfless. They bring teammates in as well. I agree with you. Darcy is box office.
There was a moment against the Blues maybe, or it might have been the Pies. I think I was camping, so it'll be the Pies, where he took a mark at half forward, and I've kind of said to the people that were there, I was like, this kid's special. They weren't footy fans. He turned around on his left and just kicked it across the centre square, 45, it could have been 50, to I think Latham Vandermeer, and hit him on the chest in stride. And they went, wow, that's a really good kick for a left footer. And I had to explain to them, he is not a left footer. It's not right, mate. He's 22 feet tall and he plays like a bloke 190 centimetres. It's actually not fair.
He is sexy to watch. I'm with you. I think we are in a golden era of forwards. Like Blue Bag has mentioned Darcy Fogarty. Like we watch a lot of Adelaide on this channel. Like, that guy's set shot is sexual.
Mate, him and Nick Larkey. Oh boy.
Like we were me and a mate were chatting about this the other day, and it said if someone held a gun to your head, you had to kick from 45. Who would you choose to take that kick? I was like, Darcy Fogarty, that's money. Like he'll do it off a step, and then he'll turn around and give me a hug and say, I've saved your life.
Yeah, they've got two of them, the Crows, Fog and Tex. If it was opposite foot, I'm taking the Texan from 50 any day of the week. I'm a big Nick Larkey guy. I'm not, 45 probably be the limit. I don't know what he's like from 50, but yeah, two great choices there, mate. My word.
Yeah, mate. And then we come on to a team with probably the opposite issues. Probably both would love a Sam Darcy. Both are crying out for a big bloke up top. Melbourne and Essendon. And I got slated in my tips when I had this as my lock of the week, Essendon winning this game. And you know what? I saw the Essendon boys giving me a bit of stick for having them so low, the lunchtime pod. Great guys they are. But Essendon, you know what I like about Essendon at the minute? And there's not much because I'm a Carlton fan. But this is another Clarkson dig. Brad Scott's DNA is all over Essendon. Like, they grind and grind. And under Roses now, their list management, you can really see they have adapted to the modern day. I don't think they'll be top 12. I don't think they'll be top 8. But what is reassuring is they are buying modern day footballers and, more importantly, playing a modern day brand. And it's going to pay them back in the near future.
Yeah, I think now, look, I can understand being any Essendon fan being a pessimist because, of course, with what you've had to go through, I understand that. I think what's exciting about the Bombers and what Brad Scott's doing in a really smart way is he's not developing a game plan for the players he's got. He's developing a game plan for the players he'll keep. And what's so exciting about, like, they play a game of footy that would suit, genuinely, that would suit Nate Caddy being the third tall forward. In terms of ball movement, they don't want to kick to the top of the square, which I think is really smart because you've got a 19-year-old tall forward and not a whole lot else in terms of your talls. That's really smart. So what they want to do is they want to get their forwards on the lead. Now, of course, Jai Menzies got the results there with the way that he played, but it could be him. Kako's nearly ready to explode, mate. He's going to do what Nick Watson did against Freo last year. He's going to win Essendon a game, and he'll never look back. That'll be the way that it goes. So that's going to be so exciting. But the way they're around the contest, like, you could still argue that they're an A-grade midfielder short in terms of Zach Merritt, but the way they set up at stoppage, especially defensively now with Setterfield in there, is you know what they're going to do. And I love that they want to play a style that will work with personnel rather than try to improvise on the fly and try to figure out what's best for this group. No. This is how the Bombers are going to play footy. It's this or nothing. And if you consistently show nothing, see you later, we don't want you. And I love that. I think that's as positive as you can be for a Bombers fan, to be honest. They want speed on the ball. Sardell Hooley as a sub twice now, been electric. And that's what they want to do, mate. And Sammy Durham. Oh, man crush central. Oh, boy.
He's a big boy, isn't he? I mean, you know, the guy that really excited me, and I loved what you said there. I'm with I at the moment. Players they want to keep is, I said this last week, it reminds me very much of your rebuild, Hawthorn, when Sam Mitchell took over. You could see he disregarded what players were there, and he'd already thought 3 years ahead. This is what we're going to be playing. Half of these guys are going to be working at Coles week, next year. I'm going to get the guys in. Even last year with Sam Frost, you could see Sam Frost was the placeholder for a big time talent. And watching, I love Essendon. Like the way Archie Roberts has come in, he was one of my favourites in the draft.
Same.
It's just so good to watch. So I'm going to propose, right, that Essendon, because they've got a good record. I hate doing this. 2-2. I reckon they should go up to 13th. Looking strong, defensively strong. And Melbourne, I can't put them below Eagles because, honestly, I'd put my Auskick team above Eagles. So,
yeah, I'm with you, mate. Yeah, they have to go above Richmond, above Carlton. I'm totally with you on that. And Bombers fans, I wish I could tell you the date that it gets better from a long-term standpoint, but boy, do I hope that you are watching this and seeing what's unfolding in front of you, because this journey is going to get real fun real quick. Give it another off-season or two, and they're going to be golden. Their NGA Academy this year is going to produce some real quick talent, which on the ball is going to be great, and then you're off to the races.
Looking at Matt, and also they did that trade with Melbourne, which might be... Like I said at the time when they did that, it could be the most genius thing you've ever seen. I remember covering that one and saying, I've got a feeling that Melbourne will either be top 8 or will be bottom 2. It's no in between. They're either going to be average, where they always are, or it's going to go the other way and it proper comes off the seams. And at the moment, like they could have 2 top 10 picks, which is going to get them Arsenal for futures because they'll just trade slightly back. They could make a real big play for an out-of-contract player around 2026, 2027. I think Essendon just quietly will be back in the hunt before you know it.
I'm with you, mate. Dyson Sharp in that Essendon midfield. Oh boy. Or Willem Dersma, but I think Dersma's number 1, and that won't change for a while. But
you know what? I've got a sneaky feeling. I keep saying this. I think Zach Butters is an Essendon player.
Ooh, I don't mind it. I think he's a dog, but I like the Bombers. Bombers would be 3 on my list. I'm biased. I'm a Hawks fan. I want him at the Hawks. But
I want him to go to you. I keep saying I think Hawks are just going to steal it, but steal some good players. But just got a feeling watching him play, watching what Essendon need. Big time Victorian club. I think Zach Butters has got the arrogance to say, I'm the man that can bring them finals.
Yep, I love it. And I'm with you. Him, Merritt, and Durham. Ooh, sign me up.
They should be good. And then we come on to Richmond, who, Richmond really break my heart watching Richmond play because it's the young legs now. The young legs are starting to take their toll. They've had their flash in the pan against the Blues. And again, they've been outworked. And the one thing that breaks me about Richmond, and I mentioned this about Hawthorn, what was great about you guys is you sold the flash players, kept the workhorses. Richmond did the same because I still think Liam Baker, Shea Bolton are the last 2 people you want when the chips are down. But they've got no... Tim Taranto and Hopper are not the guys you want as the figureheads to help a young core go through, because I don't think they can control a game. We didn't learn much about Freo here, but Fremantle, when it goes their way, might have the best midfield on paper in the competition.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I'd like it. Sarong, Brayshaw, and Hayden Young, just as a trio, epitomise everything that you want out of your midfield. Sarong is your hybrid. I think Brayshaw's underrated on the outside, to be honest. I really do. And then Hayden Young's left foot, I mean, my God, is extraordinary. And I think Jaeger O'Meara going under the radar as a 4th mid-wing half-forward option. He might be the best-looking bloke I've seen in person. It's him or Pat Lipinski. And then I sometimes, mate, I look at myself and wonder what kind of shit day God was having when he put me together. Like, mate, you could build those two, and you just decided to throw this together with the spare parts, did you? Well, thanks. That's got nothing to do with anything. I don't know why I brought that up. Enough about my insecurity. Let's go back to Freo. Their midfield's extraordinary, mate. I think what we learned about Freo is that it's, again, when you play these lesser sides, I think you get an idea of the game plan when it's at its best. Like, Freo want to play this way against everyone, and Richmond are just a team that are going to let you do that, like you said, because of the kids. And Josh Tracy, you talked about the tall forwards. I mean, I was a giant miss guy in the draft year. I really was. I watched a game of Josh Tracy's in Tassie. I think he's a Tassie boy. Is Josh? I think I've got that right. And he looked really powerful. I think he kicked 1 goal 7 or 2 goal 6, something like that. In his draft year, I went, geez, as soon as he fixes his goal kicking, he's a mountain. And mate, it's poor Ben Miller. Imagine standing next to him, standing next to Josh Tracy, and just going, geez, I can't let him get a kick early. And you blink, and 14 minutes later, he's taken 4 marks, had 4 kicks, kicked 3 goals, and dished 1 off. Poor bugger.
Mate, I couldn't agree more. I think Josh Tracy everyone always talks Fremantle need a forward, and it just feels like suddenly a miss Tracy. They've kind of been hiding them for years, and suddenly bang, they're here. And I think Bolton is the missing piece, because I at the moment ask the question, is it as good as Brisbane's midfield? I think historically, no. But I think on potential, now they've got Bolton, they've got the link man they've always wanted, and the key forward to lap that up. I really think Fremantle could be contender all of a sudden.
Yeah, as someone that not only did a 12-minute video on why Shea was the missing piece and had Freo on my top 4, geez, I'm feeling good about that. And I'm not saying that in an arrogant way, guys. Last year I did a top 10 worst takes of the year, so I'm quite happy to call myself out when I get it wrong. I really do. I think, and this is a team that played a prelim in 2015, and I think if Nat Fyfe hadn't have broken his leg, the Hawks wouldn't have won a 3rd grand final in a row, because I don't think they would have been there. They made a grand final in 2013. This is the best list they've had ever. From top to bottom, it's the best side they've ever put out there, mate. And I'm with you. The cake that Justin Longmuir had been baking, look, it was a little wobbly. He was struggling to get there on time, mate. But as soon as you bring in Shea Bolton there, my friend, and you've got that absolutely beautiful icing on it, it can cover a crack or two. Freo's challenge is making the finals, because Shea will win you a final. He's got that potential. Their biggest block is actually getting there, because we know what happened. They dropped the last 4 last year too by under 16 points, I think it was. So they're a watch, mate. I would argue they would go up. Still not as bad as the next Hodge call. Was that you, mate?
Yeah.
I don't think that was... Okay.
Matt remembers Liam Stocker's draft profile when we got him, and I said, you are looking at the next Luke Hodge.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, not wrong. He's Luke Hodge at St Kilda. I was right.
Yeah, maybe not quite. He's a good player, Liam Stocker. I'm not 100% sure I'm buying everything that you're putting down there, great man. Well, let's be real, and genuinely, I know this is your show. I apologise that I'm the one now asking you a question. We're not moving Richmond down, surely. Like, their actual rebuild and the things and the process that they're putting together is ahead of North.
Mate,
am I wrong on this?
No, I agree. I think Richmond are doing it the right way. I am an aggressive rebuild man. Mm-hmm. I like the fact Richmond have just said, right, that's it. Let's break it up. Let's get the picks in. Let's get them all in one go. I think they'll attack the draft hard this year as well. I like how they're playing. I like the fact Uze's got them playing kind of how they're going to play when they're going to have a flag tilt. I like the fact he's not taking shortcuts. They're learning the lessons. I think half a game from them, they look just as good as anyone else. It's just literally that game management. So I do think they've got more of an excuse than North. So I do think they're better. And Fremantle, I'm going to suggest something that makes my wife want to divorce me. I think we've got to put Fremantle above St Kilda.
I'm with you. I was going to say exactly the same thing. Yep.
Like, I
I'm good
can't
with
put
that.
them above Adelaide because
No,
I am.
no.
I have bought all the shares in Adelaide.
You bought them off me real cheap because the severity of which, and seriously, I have no idea if this is true for you, but at the point until I did a video on Geelong being underrated earlier on this year, my why Adelaide will be top 4 in 2024 video was the most watched thing I'd ever done. And from there, the appropriate reactions came, and I went, they've broken my heart, the Crows, so let's ditch them. And now they're here. So I wasn't actually wrong. I just autocorrect put in the wrong year for me. I was a year early, ahead of my time. That's what I'm going with. I know it's wrong, but that's what I'm going with.
I was like you last year. I was hot on the Crows. I did stay on them, though, this year. My theory was they were punished last year.
Double down. I like it.
No, well, my theory was I thought they might learn a lesson that I felt last year they maybe got ahead of themselves. There was a bit of arrogance there. I do like what the Crows are doing, but we've all done it, mate. I think it was... I always hate on Port. Port fans don't like me, but I think every year I've done this, I have Port like bottom 4. It's a trash list. It's going nowhere quickly. And there is part of me that is reveling in Port's demise at the minute.
Yeah, there's always, if you're going to cover the league, there is just a club that is going to hate you consistently, whether you mean to or not. Like for my channel, it's St Kilda. And I still don't think the entire journey out, I have not been wrong on St Kilda once. Is my entire opinion is I have no desire to watch you if you think you can win games 68-60. That was my entire thing. Until you sacrifice some defense for some offense, I don't give a stuff. And St Kilda fans hated me for it. And look at them now. In the last, I think, 10 games, they're averaging 86 points and they're 7-3. They still don't like me, but facts are facts.
Hey, do you know what I mean? Mike, there is rumours going around. There is rumours, mate. It's a vicious rumour, but there is rumours. I'm still dirty that Gold Coast did a Ned Kelly on them. But talking about St Kilda versus GWS. Now, there is a team that I love to hate, and it is GWS. I have said all year
Really?
They are on fraud.
Who hates GWS?
Oh, I can't fucking stand them, honestly. It's because everyone's conditioned for them to be a second team. Honestly, can't stand them. But look, here's me.
Take I've ever heard. That is fantastic.
Honestly, here is me saying it. GWS are not on fraud watch. I was wrong. I've let my hatred get in the way. I am sorry. For the rest of the week, I will make sure I eat a satsuma with my lunch so I can get some orange in me. But GWS are literally a very good football side, and I just have some kind of hatred towards them. I'm taking them officially on fraud watch. Officially, they are off fraud watch. We can all get around them. I still don't like them, but they are a good football side. And I think the podcast Lunchtime Catch-Up is spot on. Saints are playing great football. There is a great confidence. I really love the St Kilda list as well. But they were bullied by GWS, and I agree with Petra that their entire list is midfielders, but fuck me, they are a good football side, and I hate it.
I'm obsessed with this opinion. Anyway, I actually have to put together some analysis after that. I want to spend the next 45 minutes dissecting this. Anyway, the Giants, mate. It's so cool watching. You're going to disagree with all of this. The reason why I love watching them, I really do, is because they went from the team that thought 16 A graders was the answer and turned it into we need 16 players who can play at an A grade standard. So, for example, Darcy Jones, his game style would be awful at Richmond, North, Melbourne, right? A quick guy that shakes his hand or shakes the hand of his opponent and never looks at him again. He doesn't defend a player. He can guard space beautifully, and once the ball is in motion, he's gone. Now, that can kill you on turnover. The Giants have got that many bloody good ball users out of the back half, mate. They don't fucking turn the ball over. So he's out and he's gone. So, I'm just using him as an example. Xavier O'Halloran can be the sub, right? He could have gone to the Bulldogs and been their 12th best player, hypothetically, 12th, 14th, 16th, whatever you want to go with. GWS told us he's their 23rd. That's what they told us. Mate, that's extraordinary. As a guy that can play a high half forward, for example, a guy that can play the sub, the guy that can do everything that a coach asks and do nothing that a fan wants, which I love because fans, again, no fan ever goes, I want to buy a ticket to go watch a high half forward who tackles and he'll kick 1.5 goals every 3 weeks. No one asks for that, right? And that's just, I say that with love, Xavier, I really do. But mate, he's perfect. Like, the construction of this 23 and the way they play footy is perfect. And the only thing that they need to do in order to contend is calm down. That's it. As soon as they bring composure into their ball movement, and they do it so often, they're in. And that's how they lost their way against us, is that as soon as we got momentum, they panicked and tried moving the ball too quick. As soon as the opposition have got momentum, all they need to do is slow down. Because Lockie Ash, Lockie Whitfield, Josh Kelly, all of these guys that can use the ball so well, just slow down. Just kick down the line. Do you know how good Jesse Hogan is? He's won 58% of his offensive one-on-one since round 1 last year. The next highest for a key forward in the comp is 33. But I can kind of understand hating them because of how good they are. Hating them for effectively no reason is extraordinary, and I actually love it. I really do. This is why I love you, Pommy.
Can I just say the happiest day of this year was when they took the lead against you in the first quarter, and Sam Mitchell absolutely monster. I can't tell you how much fun I had in that watch along. Like, I had a tear in my eye because I just genuinely don't like them. Like, honestly, they are a pure social media entity. Honestly, for me, when someone says, and I'm with Rhombus here because I'm against any human being that has a second team, but
yes,
when I hear anyone say I like GWS, that's like someone telling me that Jake Paul's their favorite boxer. You know what I mean? Like, grow up. Grow up. Genuinely. But, I mean, as for their football style, I couldn't agree with you more. Like, the only thing I like about GWS is Darcy Jones. Like, if he wants to come to Carlton, please. Other than that, I can't stand them. And
you're going to hate what I'm going to say next then.
Unfortunately, I feel like I have to put them 4th as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking 3rd.
Really?
But I'm happy. Yep. They've done nothing wrong, mate. They played, if we admit to ourselves that them and the Hawks were able to have one good quarter each because of the wind, so we take out that entire first half, then they've played 2.5 bad quarters for the year. Geelong have had 2 bad games. Or Geelong have had the entirety of a bad game. The second half against Brisbane, the first half against St Kilda. GWS have got to... you probably can't compare the opposition, but they have to go up, mate. I'll happily leave it to you. I could be swayed either way. My instincts say 3. And
you know what? I'm going to listen to you just pure...
Given the team that's second, I have a bad feeling that they're going to move even further upwards, but we'll touch on that soon.
All I've got to say is, look, at the end of the day, I would be worried about GWS fans coming after me, but let's be honest, no fucker supports them. So no one's coming after me.
It's just Cooper Hamilton who's just coming after me.
Yeah, that social media team might call me a prick. Wow. Okay, cool. St Kilda, you know what? I think St Kilda should stay there because I genuinely like the Saints. I think I'm with you. I think best defensive side, so hard to break down. They're starting to kick goals. I feel like they just got outbeat by a better side, and I think Saints are that 8th, 9th, 10th team.
Yep, I'm totally with you. I think their ceiling is a 4-goal elimination final loss, to be honest. And I think that could happen against Collingwood, Gold Coast, Adelaide, or Freo. I'm totally with you on that, mate. I would take them over the Bulldogs. If they're both fully fit and playing at their best, it's a different conversation, but that's not what your power rankings are for. So I'll shut up. And the good news about that is there are no more games to talk about. How good's that, mate? 8 games in gather round. Beautiful. What's the next segment?
Devos, it all started. Do you remember that 16, that game 2018? They beat us with 16 players, Carlton. I was sat next to 2 GWS fans, and one of them just wouldn't shut the F up, right? And I'm a bad person because I've still got the football in me. So if you give me enough shit, I just want to glass you by about half time. And so I have to fight it. And he just kept going on and on and on. So that started it. But then it's this culture of, oh, I like GWS. But GWS have been handed everything. Like, got a good list because Uncle Gil made them have a good list. Like, they haven't earned it. They haven't tried for it.
Literally none of those players, or Josh Kelly, Stephen Canelio, and Toby Green, they're the only ones. I know they're 3 very good players, and Cogs is injured right now. I understand that. Mate, they still, you boys, could have drafted Sam Taylor, which would have been handy alongside Jacob Wiedering. I think we can get past the GWS were handed a good list, surely.
Honestly, it's completely Mickey Mouse. You've got Uncle Gil getting a job for Canelio so he doesn't move to Carlton. Honestly, it's the biggest fugazi in the world. Like, people in Victoria wind me up because they say COVID's a conspiracy. The biggest conspiracy I have ever seen in my life is GWS are a football team. Like honestly, they're a child's toy. They are the Wiggles kicking a football.
I love this so much. I'm so happy to be here. I know I've said that a couple times, but it's really coming more and more true the longer I'm doing this. I love also how you said it'll be an hour. We're an hour and 7 in and we're still on segment 1.
Yeah, I am sorry.
No, don't be. Dude, this is absolutely fine. I've got a message from the better half. The little bloke's asleep. He was asleep a while ago, but she's gone to bed, mate. We're fine for time. Don't stress about that. I just really want to say that I'm very much enjoying this, and I really hope the fans are as well. I'm going to say Pom won't drink orange juice.
Honestly, yeah. You know what? I contacted all the AFL clubs to get some merchandise because the dream is having 18 clubs. And honestly, honest to God, I haven't actually contacted GWS because I don't want anything from them. You know what I mean? Like people don't realise I'm just going to stick a Satsuma here. That's it. That will be their representation. Don't want it. Don't need that evil in my life. You know what I mean? But anyway, GWS hatred aside, we do have to talk about...
do we?
This game. Now, I want to talk about this game because this game's fascinating because I think Port are cooked. And when I did my PommInOz on Port, I said I've got a fear that they'll dine out on supremacy at AO. Like, they are a different beast. It's like Samson with long hair. I don't understand it. For some reason, you stick 30,000... Port Power fans in there, and these guys turn into Billy Ten bollocks. But outside of it, they're like Guinness outside of Dublin. Pour it down the drain. Your Hawks, though, I think every team has a boogie team, and for some reason, I don't know what it is. I just feel Port are it because I think after the second half, I think Port were hanging on. I genuinely think. If you started how you did the second half, I think this would have been a blowout. But I still question Port because I thought the second half, they looked woeful and they were clinging on.
It's been really interesting, the discussion out of this game. Now, as much as I lean into this, so I talk about the league as much as I can. I talk about the league way more than I talk about Hawthorn. As a Hawthorn fan, if you haven't figured that, which way is my head going behind me there? I'm a Hawthorn supporter. So what was so interesting about this with Port is that everything that happened in this game happened because of them. Good, bad, and otherwise. So the first half, right? The Hawks did a lot wrong, skill errors-wise, and we'll talk about them in a sec. I understand that. But Port forced us into that. Their structure down the line was fantastic. Port, to me, I think, thrive off hate better than anyone. And I genuinely cannot understand why that's not harnessed for every club. So, for example, so we know why they should hate the Hawks, right? Now, personally, as a Hawthorn fan, I hated that Ken Hinkley got the fine. I thought it was nonsense, right? I don't care what Jack Ginnivan says on social media. I don't care that Ken said you're not flying next week, but we actually had to fly, Ken. We just had to fly home, so it was a bad sledge, but that's okay. I don't think we were walking back to Waverley, but that's all right. But I love that. James Sicily saying you've been a nowhere club for 8 years. Why the fuck Ken Hinkley didn't say, mate, we've been playing in prelims and you've been bottom fucking 5 since you were wearing number 20, whatever the hell you were wearing before 6. I don't actually remember what number. It's 28, I think James Sicily was. Anyway, that's not important. No, he was there when Piopolo was there. Anyway, not important, not part of the story. But I love that. That's fine. We need this rivalry in the game. I don't understand the fans that thought it was Ken's fault or Hawthorn's fault. Just enjoy the banter for what it is. So they had the reason to hate us. And they played like they hated us. Hey, Port, find a reason to hate everyone. And there's almost your answer. And I'm saying, Connor Rosey to halfback, of course it works because of how quick it was. Of how quick he is and his closing speed and his actually ability to stand back shoulder is fantastic. But I completely agree with, I think it was a lunchtime catch-up. Essentially, I think is 100% that you don't know which side mentally is going to turn up. I completely agree. And I think the part of that is, why should you hate Brisbane? Well, they're the reigning premier, right? We know why you should hate Hawthorn. Why should you hate GWS? Because Pommy does. Sure.
I can give them reasons.
Why do you hate GWS and Gold Coast? Well, they were you were their first loss, both of them. Hate them for that. I don't give a stuff. Why do you hate Geelong? They've beaten you in finals. Why do you hate Collingwood? Because they exist. Why do you hate Adelaide? Showdown. Why do you hate Freo? Because they're the little brother in WA. So, why do you hate St Kilda? Because their midfield beat you. I don't care what the answer is. Just hate everyone. Lean into it. Be a flog in terms of your on-field action. Not the off-field stuff, and I understand fans that don't like that. But play on hatred. Because if you are lacking in skill or structure, because their weaknesses are still weak after the Hawthorn game. We made Asava Radicalea look like Steven Silvani at points, right? The problem is that he was playing on a bloke that should be the 4th best tall forward in a competing team. Mabs was our leading goal kicker last year. I understand that. He's not a number 1. He just isn't, unfortunately, playing like it. But they lost finals, Port, for a lack of execution. Zach Butters has paid 50 grand in fines, right? For doing whatever. Do you know who loves Zach Butters? Everyone that loves watching footy loves Zach Butters. And every single team would want Zach Butters with them because he plays like he hates everyone. And look, Toby Green, James Sicily, Zach Butters, I would much rather have those players go over the line 20% of the time than never approach it. And I think Port's problem is they have too many guys that won't approach the line until it's called upon. And I just disagree on the notion that it should be called upon. It should be the standard. Sam Powell-Pepper should be playing 20 games a year like he did on Sicily. Because he played him to perfection. And it doesn't happen. And you can throw in a lot of other guys there. If I can give one more piece for Port, because they were magical, and I disagree with you a little bit. The second half, they took the foot off the pedal. They are not good enough to do that. And nearly got caught out. But again, the Hawks came back, not because we did anything special. All we did was throw Sicily forward. That was it. But Port took the foot off the pedal. Everything that happened in the game was because of them. Joe Richards, underrated pickup of the year. Been awesome.
I agree. I agree with you. My issue with Port is I think if you've got to play on emotion, and I thought it was interesting because at the end of the game, they did that whole lie, nothing was talked about, and then you can actually hear on the audio Butters fuck them CUNTs. And I'm like, okay, my issue is if you're playing on emotion, you're not very good. I agree with Blue Bagger and yourself. They're a top team. They are always in the 8. They are like the Geelong of the 5th to 8th. They are always there. They're guaranteed. I will stand by this comment. When I watched the game in real time, I was thinking about putting a live bet on Hawthorn when Sicily kicked his first. And when he missed the behind, like a minute later, that's when I didn't put the bet on. Because I was like, if this goes through, Hawks win it.
Score review, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Hawks win it. When it was behind, I was like, okay, cool. They're probably going to win this now. It's going to give them a let off. And what happened? Willie Rioli went down the end, got bumped, and then there was, the easy free, and it was game over. But I genuinely think that's the issue with Port. They get up when it matters, when there's something to play for. But I feel like they're a nothing team. Like, I genuinely, in my heart of hearts, think 12's too high. Even though they won, I feel like that's too high.
I think that they are the quintessence. I don't think you could find a better definition of a 12th best team in the comp. But having an effect the coaching transition and Butters being talked about seeking a trade is having to the side. It's a really good point. I am firmly of the opinion, and nothing will make me change my mind on this, is that this is a waste. The entire year for Port is a waste. Yeah, we can enjoy the good. Of course you can, Port fans. I'm not going to rob you of that. There is 0 point. Josh Carr just being there and just being the dude to run it in the box. Because unless you think Port are going to win the flag, or let's say make a prelim, right? Unless you think Port's going to make a prelim, why is Ken still there? And no one can give me an answer that works long term. So the way that I'm looking at it is, if you don't think Port are a top 8 side, giving Josh Carr 16 games, or however many he's left, 18, 19 games, is only going to make them better by round 5 next year. It's just delaying the process. And if you do lose Butters, and you do lose Miles Bergman, and you do lose these guys who could be on the fringe there, Carr's actually starting from a worse point than they're at now. And then you're wasting 2026 as well. So, 12th, it's the middle of the bottom 6 or mid 6. Leave them there.
I'm with you. When I saw Josh Carr taking it over, it screamed to me they were scared. They wanted to kind of have a scapegoat, knowing that this year maybe wasn't going to be the top 8. I read it as they were trying to just kind of give Josh Carr the reins, but Hinkley's the fall guy. We're dropping from 2nd to 12th, so that's going to piss you all off. But it's all right. Hinkley's going. We've got rid of you. We've got rid of the problem. Because I thought as soon as Houston went, I thought it was the best trade for them. I thought they ticked all the boxes that I think they needed. But I felt like they hadn't really confronted the fact they need to reset a bit. So I feel like Hinkley's the scapegoat here. It's like, we're going to slip out of the 8. You're all going to be pissed off. But it's all good. We've got rid of Hinkley. Here's the new shiny new coach for this little reset.
Yeah. And if they're going to play the same way under Carr, it's automatically a failure. Because no coaching transitions ever stayed the same. And if Carr's going to have them play a completely new way, what is the point of 18 games now? Of the old way? They're not going to change it. How could they change it? It's not Ken's plan. It's so weird. And I promise you I'm not saying this from a salty Hawthorn point of view. Or I have enough salt towards my own footy club, let me tell you. But Port deserve to enjoy the win. Absolutely, they do. They can't go up. They can't go down. They are my definition of 12th. And as much as I would love to get around what the Bombers are doing, I cannot for the life of me justify putting the Essendon higher.
Yeah, and on the same token, I don't think Hawks deserve to go down. I think every good team...
Oh, we strongly disagree. But okay, yep, go. Give me your sales pitch.
Well, the reason is you look at how they've played. I think a lot of the current hatred, I thought Sam Mitchell nailed it, is it's media hype. But I think if you look at Hawthorn play from the outside looking in, you look at Brisbane, I think the nearest side to Brisbane at the minute from a tactical point of view, who can shift in game the quickest, is Hawthorn. I think the big difference between the Hawks and Brisbane at the minute is their backline has been together since 1622. Yours is, 5 games old at the minute? So that takes a while. I think that you still haven't got your best forward line out there. I think what Hawthorn are doing is better than anyone but Brisbane. And I think, for some reason, I think you were ill-prepared for this game. Like, genuinely feel like Hawthorn went into this game not realising the magnitude of what Port were coming out. I think Sam Mitchell has been intelligent and gone, we're preparing for Port, where Ken Hinckley was preparing to get one up on Sam Mitchell. And I think if this game happens in finals, I would put my mortgage on Hawthorn battering Port Adelaide, even if it was in Adelaide.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just think I can't get past, again, the bias in me. It's that I agree with Sam Mitchell. That first half is so unacceptable. I just think they need to be punished for it. I genuinely think they do. I think that it's... Look, they'll get punished by... I love the Hawthorn media circle around them because every single fan of Hawthorn and every single pundit have been right about us the entire way, which is the Hawks played good footy to end the year. They've got this strength. They've got these weaknesses, and that's fine. And then if you hate the Hawks, which you have every right to do, you had to put up with from December to February, AFL.com.au, Fox Footy, power rankings, social media posts. Hawthorn are the best team in it. Hawthorn are going to win the flag. Hawthorn are going to do this. Will Day can win the Brownlow. John Newcombe can be the best midfielder in the competition, hypothetically. Tom Barrass and Josh Battle are going to be all Australians. Now, to be fair, I think Josh Battle may deserve a spot in the squad, maybe. I think he's been fantastic. But it becomes the interviews with Guinea and Nick Watson and all of these kinds of things. As a Hawthorn fan, I wanted everyone to shut up. To be honest, just for crying out loud, quit it, is kind of what I wanted to do. But everything about the Hawks, mate, that exists is true. I don't care how good our smalls are. One tall, who is not B+ standard, ain't winning the flag. It's as simple as that. We're just not doing it, right? That's Cole Shadir coming back again. He's 19 years old. That's why we're going after Oscar Allen. Why do we want to go after? Why do we want to go after Zach Butters? Because we're a midfielder short. Jimmy Warple, Josh Ward are not the number 3 mids. They're just not. But Zach Butters, Will Day, and John Newcombe. If John Newcombe's your third best mid, then you're getting into your Freo, Gold Coast, Brisbane areas in terms of a midfield. The back line's fine, mate. It's done. They had an awful night. They got Scrimshaw to come back, Connor McDonald to come back up forward. That's fine. The back line's done. The midfield's one short. Meek is a star. I still have some concern of our wings, or half a wing, and our tall forward stocks. For me, personally, 4th. And I can be talked into 5th, but I'm not going to be. But
I can't believe. You know what? I'm going to... Because you're a Hawks man, I'm going to do it, and I can't believe you've managed to kill my power rankings to have fucking GWS second. That's on me. Because also, let me ask you this, because and I know you said that next week's not an influence, and it's not in my decision, but let me just ask you this question, right? I don't know who you're going to have on next week, but if we get to Easter Monday night or Tuesday, whenever you do your next one, if the Hawks win, regardless of margin, is it fair to say they should be above Geelong? Because they'll be 5-1 and the Cats will be 3-3. We can agree on that, yeah? Yeah.
That'd be fair. Okay, whether you want to put them 2nd or 3rd, but they'd be above Geelong. I am cool with that. No stress with that in the slightest. If the Cats win, and let's just say the Cats win, the margin does not matter. Can you still put an argument down as to why Geelong would be, why you'd put Hawthorn up?
I think when you've beaten the other side, it's hard to have one above the other, unless there's like an excruciating circumstance.
Yeah, Hawthorn v. Port being the fantastic example. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I understand that.
Like Barrass and Battle had gastro of the morning and they're late outs. Maybe then you can have it. I mean, Look, all I'm saying is this time next week, in an ideal world, if there is a God, Carlton win, Adelaide win, Hawks win, and we can somehow find a way of getting GWS out of this 8.
Because, I think as it stands now that between the Geelong and Hawthorn thing, and I'm not suggesting that Geelong are the ultra powerful, they are as good as they are. But for me, for the Hawks, is you get punished for that bad of a performance. The margin doesn't matter. That first half when the game was there to be won, we were nowhere. Win and go up. That's the challenge. That's it. As soon as the Hawks win on Easter Monday, put them back to second. And if they don't, then we hit the panic button. And I just think that it's justifiable that we say to this Hawthorn group, right, you've had this said about you. You've heard all of this. You've done all of this, right? Back against the wall now. Geelong don't need to. You need to bounce back. What have you got? Because there were no expectations on the Hawks. We went on a run. We defied expectations against the Swans. But if you look at that list, mate, we've beaten second on the list at Tassie. We never lose at Tassie. We've beaten 11th, 13th, and 14th. So it's not exactly the most palatable. I mean, it's better than Gold Coast beating 7th, 17th, 18th, and 16th. I think that's right. Gold Coast beat someone else. I don't think they played North. But anyway, it's, they're not the most impressive wins. Beat the Cats and go up. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd counter that Cats have lost to Lions, who are very good, but they also lost to St Kilda, which they always do. And I thought that was, even though it wasn't a massive margin, I thought Saints controlled that game from start to finish, aside from a tail wag late, but the game was dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, so in defence, you've had a flash in the pan loss to Port. They've had 2 challenges and so far failed each one. You're twisting my mate. I will leave this entirely up to you. 3 or 4 is fine with me. They cannot stay at 2. You know what? We'll make them yours. 3 because then we can settle this on Monday. Yep, awesome. So, and I genuinely believe this. I really do. If you look at the fixture, the winner of Easter Monday is second, undoubtedly, and the loser might actually be 6th, which is extraordinary. Well, I mean, I think lunchtime catch-up asked, this will be a great one. Collingwood beat the Lions. I genuinely think if you are in the top 6, my gut, if you're in the top 6 and you beat the Lions, you go above the Lions. And if you ignored the ladder right now, can you imagine if this was the finals? Brisbane play Geelong, GWS play Hawthorn. We've never beaten GWS at their home stadium, by the way. Collingwood play Freo, with how good Freo's form is, and Gold Coast would play Adelaide in a replay of the 1-point game. Hey, you know what, Mystic? I agree with him here. I feel like you are in a reset. Like, that's why I was quite confident with your trade period. Everyone was panicking about Houston, but I thought what they brought in did make their list more rounded. And ultimately, I'm intrigued what Carr does, because I get the feeling that Carr's going to play a modern-day system. And I'm with you, Daz. I wish we'd seen it. But I agree with you. If this was the finals, like, it's a pretty good final. Oh, sign me up, yeah. Like, I'll say this. I genuinely think, I know we do a weird power rankings here, but I actually think, in my opinion, I only judge this as a neutral. That would be the order in which, if you said to me, Pom, choose which game you want to watch, I'd want to see the Brisbane game first. GWS, I'm guaranteed free-flowing, non-contested footy. Hawks is great. Geelong's ruthless. Collingwood's good. Gold Coast is good. Adelaide would probably be higher because I like watching them play. But to be fair, it's probably the order of the teams of likability to watch. Yep, I agree with that. And I love the rise of St Kilda in terms of watchability. It's awesome. So shout out to them. But as a soccer man, I do like a good structure. Yeah, but also as a soccer fan of just one club that I am, I do also like team scoring. So No, I agree, but I do like. I've always had a good appreciation for structure. So I kind of like St Kilda's defense first mentality. To me, it shows. I can see what he was building. I've always been hot on the Eagles. I mean, on the Saints, because I can see what Ross is doing. They had to be hard before they were sexy.
That's an official quote. Yeah, nice. I like it.
Hey,
all right, what are we doing here, great man?
Okay, so this one's going to blag your head. So, for those at home, I will remove this and I will show you what you are aiming to beat. So, the beautiful Daz, what happens now is we do. You get a minute on the clock. Audience can help you. And I will play a game of charades with you where you name the AFL player. So we do it by position. This week, for the first time ever, we're doing forwards. So
I thought you were going to say key defenders. And I was like, we're in. Okay, forwards. Beautiful.
So these are forwards, right? Mm-hmm. And what we do is, so if it was someone like, say, I don't know, someone like Darcy Jones, I would say his surname is a famous movie, Indiana, and you'd be like, Jones. And I'd be like, first name is the guy from fucking Pride and Prejudice. And
yeah. And I would be like, I've never seen it, but I know a Jones. Cool. Nice.
Yeah, so
awesome.
Listen to chat, because chat are very good at this because they watch too much Pom.
Okay, now, to the fans, I promise you if I don't get to you, I do apologise for that. I'm trying to run the chat on the screen, so please don't think I'm ignoring you. I probably will go my guess first before you guys. That is not unintentional. Okay, so as long as we've got that disclaimer out there, mate, let's do this. Forwards. Beautiful.
Okay, so go. Are you ready?
Oh, mate, born ready. Let's do this.
Okay, cool. Right. Okay, first player. Easy. He's your favourite key forward.
Oh, how many favourite key forwards can I have? Ben King?
No, the one that you said is the best since Buddy.
Oh, Sam Darcy. Yep.
Okay, cool. The second one, his surname was a movie, Something Heroes.
No idea. Something Heroes.
Yeah, his first name could be a girl's name, a nickname maybe for Jessica.
Jesse Motlop? Jesse Hogan? Oh, yeah, yes, Hogan's Heroes. Yep.
Third one, this guy's got two first names. His first name is Santa Claus's real first name.
Nick. Larky, yep. Nick. Yeah. Okay.
His surname is kind of like Matthew.
No, that went so poorly for me. I did not enjoy
we started, so we finish. His surname kind of loosely rhymes with Smarties, but that would probably be his nickname if that was your first name.
Nick. What the hell?
So I think Nick Smarties. Who could that sound like?
Oh, this is so bad. Who's a forward?
Yeah, mid forward.
Nick. Nah, I don't have it, mate.
It was Nick Martin.
Okay. I do not understand the Smarties reference there, but all right. I've done awfully, but...
It's all right. It's all right.
I thought we were doing the jumper challenge there.
To be fair, champion's data, when it's a forward, it is hard. So Paul still has the lead, as we can see. Legdog's a disgrace, to be fair, because we spend a lot of time together in real life. So the fact that he got 4 is a disgrace, to be fair. And Caden and Marnie will be famous for having 0 till 40 seconds because she couldn't work out who Harry Sheezer was when I said his name is a very famous cheese snack.
Oh, no. I mean, I can't judge, but... Come on, Marnie,
and then
you're
I
better
got
than
pissed off, and I was like, Marnie, he's Jewish. And she was like, oh, Harry Sheasel.
Marnie, he's Jewish.
And I was genuinely annoyed because I was like, fucking hell, I should have just gone with that third way. But then we go on to everyone's favourite. This is Daz's super team. So Daz here has created his SuperCoach team. And it's a very good SuperCoach team here. You've gone with some big names here, Daz. Just tell the audience what you thought here.
Well, I thought to myself, I need to do what the bloke that was ranked 91st thousandth after round one would do. And that was try hard and probably go nowhere. Now, the rise up the rankings is extraordinary. I have to apologise to the chat. I could not see it come up on my side of the screen. So that is simply on me. That's fine. I think Jai Simpkin, I'm rewarding him for career best form. I really am. For merit, West Coast don't tag. They really don't. Noah Anderson, I don't think he's facing a tag either. Lockie Whitfield to bounce back. Collingwood don't tag in their forward 50s, so Zorko could genuinely run amok, and his record at the Gabba is extraordinary. Jack McRae, I think, has just got to bounce back in a meaningful way against the Doggies as well, who'll be wanting to stick it right up them. And Lloyd Meek is my sort of bogey there in terms of Ruckman up against Reece Stanley. I think he can continue on from his 100-plus score last week. I was tempted to say Bailey Smith, but that implies he's BOG against the Hawks, and I do think that he might be the guy that Connor Nash or Finn McGuinness goes to, especially Finn because he's got that running capacity. So a little bit worried about Baz there, and also because he's in my team, I don't want to jinx him.
Well, I mean, you've got a good score. Paul last week props up the leaderboard, 594. As we expected, though, Lekdog, considering he made a career from SuperCoach content, and I'm glad he's number one. One shock there, though, Marnie has never done SuperCoach or picked a SuperCoach team, and the fact she's beating other people that do run SuperCoach comps is kind of a disgrace. Like the fact that she nearly beat Lekdog as well, and she had a horrible pick in the forwards who only had 20. She was actually on to beat him. So this could be good for you, Daz. I think on paper, you may challenge.
I will put a prediction out there. I will either be second or sixth. There will be no in between. So you're Melbourne in pre-season. Yeah.
It's going to be good or bad.
Yeah, that's it.
I still can't. Honestly, Lekdog came on the show and said it is 100% possible to get 1,000, and I do laugh the fact he's 200 short of that. To be fair, so he was quite bullish. But here's the tipping comp. Obviously, myself and Caden only had 8 games because the AFL does horrible fixturing. Paul last week, shockingly, with 6. So this is all on you, Daz. So we've got the tips for next week. So Daz, disagreed on the first game. Lions versus Pies. You're backing in them Brisbane boys.
Yeah, backing in Brisbane. I know they had to come from a long way back against the Doggies. I know that. The Pies, though, this will be their second week of travel. They don't have to do it that often. I don't know if you've seen the stat, but Harvey Thomas has played 23 games and played at more stadiums than Scott Pendlebury has. So I know the Pies win on the road a lot. That's because they don't go on the road a lot. So 2 weeks in a row might actually break them, to be honest. But I have a feeling you're going to hate me for the second game, great man.
Yeah, well, I think the Pies will. I'm hoping the Pies unstick the Lions, but this one, you know what? This one, look, I should have 8 out of 8, but I was bullied by chat to tip Carlton, right, versus the Doggies, right? I was bullied, right, because me and Lekdog had the same tips, and to make it interesting, I tipped the Dogs. I tipped the Blues, and I hate myself. But I mean, surely. Daz, surely, like, I can't do another loss. I've probably got 3 losses in me.
Here's my logic, right? I believe this very strongly. One of North Melbourne or West Coast are going to win this week. I will feel less stupid getting North and Essendon wrong than I will tipping the Eagles and they lose by 80. That is there is no further analysis from that, mate. That is it. It is as simple as one of them is going to win, and I took the safest of the two. What do North do better than Carlton? Nothing. How could North beat the Blues on their own merit? Hope the Blues again continue or to forget how to play football? Like, that could be the way to go, but there is no position on the ground where North are absolutely the better side. But I still think one of them or West Coast is going to win, so I'm taking the safer option there. It's a crap reason to tip. It's why I suck at tipping. But look, upsets need to happen, mate. So why not? It's Good Friday. I'll be watching with my missus. If I turn into a North supporter for 2.5 hours, I can get some brownie points with her too.
Mate, I'm with you. I'm pretty taking my count and buy my content. And this is one of them ones that if I had to tip a team, there would be a 0 degree of certainty I could tip Carlton. Because at the minute, Carlton could be brilliant, everything clicks, masterclass, or it's what we saw against Richmond, and they implode and they fail to rise. So, you know what? I don't hate you. I agree. I'm not tipping them with anything more than 60% confidence, which means there's 40% of me that doesn't believe. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. We agreed on the Bombers beating Eagles, which, I mean, if the Bombers lose that, like...
Would it not be the most Bombers Essendon thing ever? Be honest.
Well, it's one of them ones, like when I was on the Richmond podcast, when I did the preview, and I said I would not be shocked if you beat us. Same with Bombers versus Eagles. I'd be disappointed that the Bombers lost because they must have been shit, but I genuinely wouldn't be surprised.
I think the record is 3-4 at Optus Stadium against West Coast. Now, I know they're not playing a fantastic West Coast side, but that's good enough. Bombers I hope you're right. How much is the Hawks fan tipping North to get a lower Blues draft pick? I mean, we're trading it to Port for Zach Butters anyway, mate. I don't think it's going to be too much of a difference there, but don't worry, Unique. I will explain myself later.
So Fremantle, Matt Lang's going with Demons here. Like, this again, you've just said the most Essendon thing would be to lose to the Eagles. The most Fremantle thing would be to lose to the worst midfield forward connection in the AFL. After we've built up their midfield, this would be classic that Demons just monster them.
Yeah, if Freo lose, they'll lose like 51-95, and we'll just sit there and go, what the fuck is going on at Freo? So I don't think that'll happen, but you never know. Respect for putting it out there. I'm not one that keeps receipts or anything like that on other people's predictions. I love the ballsiness of it. If you're right, a tip of the cap, absolutely.
Langy, if you get that right, you're a genius. Like I wouldn't be shocked though that we watch that game and Demons somehow do it. I'm glad you tipped the Crows versus GWS. Secret hatred is there.
Yeah, I don't think it's a secret anymore, great man, to be honest. But yeah, the Crows, they're at home. They played the 3 games in 12 days. They got the significant break, 9, to sort of settle down. I do think their game style of offense will keep the ball out of the GWS back flankers' hands. They'll need to be accurate in front of goal. They usually are. I think they get the job done. I think it's 4 goals plus, to be honest. I think this is a blip for the Giants.
There's no high-level analysis my end, just fucking hate Giants like the Crows.
Fuck GWS, nice. I know what should be your next line of merch.
Yeah, it'd probably be good merch, wouldn't it? I mean, there's X's I like more than GWS. So I'll leave it at that. I've got to give a shout out to my mate Pete, massive Richmond fan, and he has bookmarked round 6. Tigers beat the Suns at Marvel. And he's been saying it since they beat us. He was like, that's the last win I'll see till we play the Suns. And he's still confident. But we've both disagreed with him. The Suns win. The Suns should win this one, shouldn't they?
They should. The only thing that I'll proposition you is this game could be a draw. Because since Damien Hardwick at Richmond said he hates Marvel Stadium, they don't win there. He's currently coaching Gold Coast and he hates Marvel Stadium. He can't win there. How do two clubs lose a game of footy? A draw. That's my conspiracy for the week.
Hey, I don't mind it. I mean, if Richmond win that, I mean, I hope Richmond do win it, but fucking that would be all round one would be the most amazing call I've ever heard. Sydney versus Port. Obviously, we're not believing Port have turned a corner. They're just good at They're just good in Adelaide, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. And they don't. Some people would say, "What about the prelim final?" But they don't hate Sydney enough to play at 120% capacity. So Sydney for me.
And then we've got some exciting ones. Dogs versus Saints. You've gone the Dogs. I've gone the Saints. What are we thinking here, Daz?
I'm thinking the Bont passes his fitness test. That's what I'm hoping. Marvel Stadium, I think, suits both of these clubs unbelievably well. If there's one forward line that you want to go up against and not have to worry about your key defenders getting monstered, it probably is St Kilda. Hard to tip this one. I think it could be a high-scoring, quality game on a Sunday, and I'll back. Oh yeah, back in the Dogs. I just think they might have a bit too much offensive firepower. Riley West hit some form last week as well. Sam Darcy, as we've spoken about, mate. And at some point, Aaron Norton needs to kick 6. Just might be near, as Cal Wilkie is concerned with Sam.
It's going to be an entertaining game, that one. That game there is one of them games that I'll say now, if Saints win that, I am happy to lock them in the top 8.
Oh, a lock.
Because they are the type of games, if you are a top 8 side, you win. And I just get I get the feeling that this is all or nothing for the Saints. To win that I always have this theory, to be in the 8, you've got to beat a side in the 8 last year, which you probably shouldn't have done. I feel like the Dogs and Carlton are the 2 vulnerable 8 spots. We know Port are out of the 8, but I feel like they're the other 2 that the other clubs are definitely going to be sniffing at.
I like it. Could this be an elimination final? I probably would. I don't know whether I'd lock the winner. I think I might lock out the loser.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, I like it.
I think that's closer to where I'll go with it. And then, the last one,
and then we've got the most, honestly, the most exciting game. I feel like we've been starved with the fixture list of a potential preview. And I would say you would be an idiot if you haven't done the ladder predictor and by accident had these 2 in the grand final. At some point in one of your concoctions, I know I have, of all the eventualities. This is probably, would you say it's fair to say the most important Easter Monday clash for nearly a decade?
Yeah, I think that's a more than fair statement for sure. A few off the top of my head don't really stand out in terms of maybe 2018 might be the last one that really stands out to me. But yeah, I think we're going to get a really good lesson in system, structure, all of those kinds of things. I still think Chris Scott is a bona fide top 3 coach in the competition. I don't think anyone can deny that for a moment. And look, it's going to take more than one semi-final to put, the Hawks over the top. From a Hawthorn point of view, I hate doing this. I really do. As a Hawthorn fan, I hate doing this. And there are going to be some people that are going to be like, oh, you're not a real fan. And yeah, I understand where they're coming from a little bit. But I'm tipping the Cats for the reason that what they did last week is, how do you tip against them? As a non-biased fan, how do you tip against what they do structure-wise? They're coming off a 10-day break. I know the Hawks have got still a 9, I think, or an 8-day break as well. But 2 extra days in Danger's legs, Blitzavs, Reece Stanley for coming up against Meek, of course. Is Stewart and Henry won't be back, but will Stewart be okay after the gastro? You'd think probably. The mantle is there for the Cats, and I'm probably more cautious in them keeping their sort of reputation rather than the Hawks trying to take it off them. And also, I can't lose. I either get the tip right or my team wins.
Yeah, you know, it's fascinating. I said last week I tipped the Eagles in the tipping comp because I had this theory that Carlton win something. I think I went back through 5 years of tips. It's like 92% of the time when I tip against them.
Yep.
So I was like, there's a theory here that if I just stop tipping Carlton, I'll end up winning. Like, so I have.
Mate, welcome to how my missus wins the tipping comp every year. So she was telling me in her family comp, like she's an NRL girl and she reckons has never won her NRL family tips. She's won the AFL like 3 of the last 8 years just because she never, not once, tips North. And she goes, A, because we're bad, and B, because if I do tip them and I'm wrong, I'll chastise myself for it. Take all of the emotion off the table, even if it's winnable. Even if it's winnable and you think, oh, this is the week, no, just don't do it. So maybe that's part of the thinking as well. But look, I hope I'm wrong. I absolutely do hope that I'm wrong. And
mate, I don't buy into you're not a real fan if you don't tip your team because I always say I'm in a couple of tipping comps for money and I refuse to lose money. So I would rather be right and win money than be blind faith and end up losing money. But talking about money, Mrs. Pom funds the free tipping competition where you can win, I think it's over $600 in actual cash prizes. All you had to do was like and subscribe to the first video. And let's have a look at this week. So this week, did we get any full scores? Was anyone an absolute genius? No, but Andrew, Jeremy, Peter, Paul and D all got 8 out of 9, which is a phenomenal, it has to be said, because there was a couple of shocks there. Meaning Andrew has finally dethroned Methodical Flame at the top of the leaderboard. Teresa and Claire, hot on the tails. Tiger Time, who's always in chat. Peter. And then if we scroll down, we've got some legends. We've got Churchy, Big Lad. And in the most important battle here in the world, Mrs. Pom has caught Dan, has caught Mr. Pom.
On margin. It's always the way, mate.
Yeah, well, I mean, some dickhead, we won't say who it is, did tip Carlton by, quote, 100 points versus Richmond. I'm never fucking getting them points back, bruv. Like that margin's cooked, mate. I am never pulling that back in.
Yeah, no, I think I think that was the start of the downhill spiral, my friend. Oh my goodness.
I've got to say, I am in a cash league with a few of my pals, and I am currently tied leading, and the gap between me. But the gap is that margin, and honestly, it's like 138 or something. Like, I'm 138 margin off the other 2 guys that are tied.
Yeah, so you'll know you've got to win outright. You've got no home court advantage there at all.
Like there is going to be a point in time where I'm going to have to start tipping against logic just to try and win. Like, it's a matter of time. I'm going to hold out. But by around round 16, I'm going to have to start tipping the Eagles at fucking GMHBA versus the Cats. just in the hopes. But, Daz, tell these beautiful people, I am so sorry we've gone over time. We just had too much of a good time. Daz, what can they do if they go right now and go and hang about and go and see Daz Talks Footy? What have you got on this week?
Oh, yeah, got quite a few things on. So I've got a team breakdown video tomorrow. I think in the video somewhere I've spoiled what team that is, but I won't do it now, mate, because this is how we tease in the business. From there, I've got a sort of comp breakdown video as well. It's the only kind of way that I can explain it. If you go and check out any videos, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I do quick fire reviews of Thursday and Friday games. I do at least one summary, so either Saturday or Sunday, depending on which day the Hawks don't play. I react to every Hawthorn game. I've got shorts. I've got a TikTok. Footy's my life, and I feel like my channel proves that in every which way. And I try to make my videos as palatable as possible for someone to watch who doesn't support the club that I'm talking about. So if I was doing a Hawthorn video, I do my best to make sure that non-Hawthorn fans can still enjoy, and it's not just me being an annoying and arrogant prick about the Hawks for 15 minutes. So hopefully non-fans can enjoy as well. Even the team breakdown tomorrow. It's not a Hawthorn video, but non-fans of that club I still think can get something out of it.
Mate, I couldn't agree more. You are very good at hiding your bias, which I think is hard to do sometimes, isn't it? Like, I've heard you talk about Geelong, who you hate, obviously, as a football club, but you do very well to hide it. And I think that's a gift, because one of the biggest compliments I get paid is when someone asks, who do you support? I know I've done my job right if you can't work out in analysis which is my team.
Yeah, the funny moment I had with my missus is after the Adelaide Geelong game, and I broke that down, is I had a lot of people, not a lot, I had a few people in my comment section that were like, you guys weren't that great. And I've gone, I'm not a Geelong supporter. But if your take on it as an Adelaide fan was that I'm talking in a way that makes so much sense from the Geelong point of view in that moment that you thought I was a Geelong fan, I'm doing my job right. That's the way that I look at it. And also because insults bounce off me. I was a chef for 8 years. You guys wouldn't know how to hurt my feelings if I gave you an hour of prep. So good luck to you. If you want to give it a crack, my comment section is there.
Hey, mate. Well, honestly, go and check him out. Link is in the comments there. Make sure you go and check Daz out. He is great. Like I say, one of the few guys I can honestly say I listen to. There's only him and Ian at Navy Blue Corner that I do religiously watch. And Ian, it's just purely because lose by 100 tells me it's going to be okay. We'll win next week. And I need that in my life sometimes. Someone to lie to me and tell me you are still good.
Yeah, it's our version of do I look fat in this? It's just I don't need the truth. Don't tell me the truth. Like, just don't. And I have to do that. Like, I put on clothes and say to my missus, does this look as bad on me as I think it does? And she tells me no. Her eyes do not. I've known her for 14 years. We haven't been dating for that long, but I've known her for 14 years. She doesn't have the heart to tell me to throw it in the bin, but she'll let me figure it out myself. And sometimes you need that in life, mate.
But, mate, I'm telling you, I always joke, Ian at Navy Blue Corner, sometimes I have analysed the game and I am like, okay, we're bottom 4. Life is over. And then I watch his and he's found some weird stat that, like, when the weather changes in May, Carlton's ball movement increases. So all we've got to do is wait. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's all right. Just got to wait till May. Be fine.
I remember last year after a Hawthorn loss, like the GWS loss later in the year, I was like, oh, the last 4 times we went interstate and lost in this round, we went to a prelim. And I was like, guess we're going to a prelim. Like, history will always repeat itself, and this loss isn't that bad. And that didn't come true, mate. But it's the little lies we tell ourselves to get through the hard times is
honestly, it's how I've survived for being a Carlton fan this long. Like I can just find a lie and feel better. But Daz, mate, thank you so much. Mate, thank you so much for joining us. Chat, amazing that, like, literally from 45 stayed till the hour 45 mark. So you're all amazing people on Monday so as well, which is mental. But on the channel now, we've got PommInOz a little bit later because Terry works me too hard on Blue Abroad. But you've got North Melbourne and the Eagles that we're taking the piss out of this week. And then you have the recap show tomorrow, and then we're back to normal. So loads of content coming up. Daz, thank you again, mate. Everyone have a safe night, and we'll see you next Easter.